Hello, my friend. I got a question for you. What makes you lose your nerve? For me, there's a lot of things like heights. I don't like heights. I don't care if it's a 6-foot ladder or a roller coaster. I am not in for the heights. I don't like it. Not the fast part of the roller coaster, that very top thing. I don't like going to the doctor, which is really weird because I was raised by a couple of nurses. My mom and dad were both nurses, and I hate it to this day. I'm always ready to hear the worst news from my doctor. But if I really think about it, the thing that makes me lose my nerve the most is conflict. I wonder if you're like that. I hate it when people don't get along. I hate it. And the more intense the fighting, the more fear and nervousness that I have in my life. By the way, everyone is like this to a certain degree, except for sociopaths. Everyone doesn't like conflict. This is what makes it so interesting when we look at what happened to the apostles in the book of Acts. One minute, they're hiding in the Gospels. There's all sorts of conflict. The worst sort of conflict. Jesus is arrested and put on the cross. They're worried that's going to exactly happen to them. So they're hiding. Peter's denying the existence of Jesus as a friend. I mean, they have lost their nerve. Then the next moment, they're not hiding. They're literally holding court with the most powerful people in the nation. They get their nerve back. How in the world did they get their nerve back? Here's what's going on. They heal this guy. This guy gets healed, being lame for 40 years. The rulers don't like it, so they throw him into jail. They come before them in the court. I mean, this is the Supreme Court. This is the top of the top. And it says this in Acts 4:13. When they saw the courage of Peter and John and realized that they were unschooled, ordinary men, they were astonished. And they took note that these men had been with Jesus. How do you get your nerve back when you actually have your feet a little bit higher than you're comfortable with, or you get a bad report from the doctor, or conflict is all around you? Well, you do it exactly the way they did it. They went from hiding to holding court. How'd they do it? Number one, they were with Jesus. They were in close proximity to Jesus. And not only that, they had learned from Jesus to stay in close proximity with each other. They were in total unity. John is right next to Peter here. Peter's right next to John. See, proximity and courage go together. I have this friend named Scott. Scott is almost 7'4", I think it is. He's a big man. He's not just tall, he is a big man. I've been in a lot of scary places around the world with Scott. We've traveled a little bit together. And I will tell you one thing, I don't care where we're at, I don't care how unfamiliar it is, I don't care how dark it is, I don't care how dangerous it is. When Scott is with me, I'm never afraid. Because people look at Scott and go, we're not hurting those guys. When people look at you, do they see Jesus? Do they see a unified group of friends around you? Do you feel that protection from Jesus and other friends? Man, get with Jesus. The closer proximity, the more courage you'll have. And the other thing's really simple, and this is a major theme in the book of Acts. They really believed that resurrection was possible. They had seen Jesus die. They had touched his wounds. They had heard from him after he conquered death. You see, how would you live your life if you just absolutely knew you couldn't really die? That eternity was yours? Man, once you start touching this idea that this life isn't your only life, that this life is a mirage, a shadow, and it's going to pass away, and you have life and life eternal, that Jesus has the power to invite you into eternity. Once you realize that, man, every issue that brings fear in our lives begins to shrink. Today, spend some time with Jesus. Spend some time with people that love Jesus. And today, meditate, think on, grapple with this idea. Death is finally dead because of Christ.